back in 2018, 2019, Hardik Pandya was our brand ambassador. When we started EUME, we said if we're coming into the market, we have to come with a market with a product that has a USP that no one has. We launched the world's first backpack that gives you a massage on the go. If you've traveled to Agra, why don't you put the Taj Mahal sticker on your bag? So your bag is like your sort of passport, right? It's telling the world where all you've traveled and it's creating that identity. We have to give the perfect bag to the Indian, to the customers.
After your Shark Tank episode aired in December 22, what was the key change that you saw in the company and the brand?
Back then, we had a lot of products which were across the price range. And as a brand, we decided to sort of realize that, okay, this is when we stop doing this.
Recently closed your 25 crore series. What has been your toughest moments in the 0 to 1?
I would not call it tough. I would basically call it a challenge to ourselves as well as to our investors in terms of how can we convince them that we are the brand, right? And it's got a lot to do with the fact that coming from this industry, we understand quality.
There are just 7.2% of Indians who have a passport and 2% of Indians that have traveled abroad. How does this shape your product and the market strategy?
If I'm not mistaken, there were more than 220 million trips, air trips that were taken last year. That equates to about 22 crore trips, which was highest ever in India's sort of history, right?
Elon Musk sent a Tesla Roadster into space. Tom Dixon blended an iPhone, and you made the EUME trolley bag run a 21-kilometer marathon.
My brand guy literally said, "यार bag को भी तेरे साथ भगा देते हैं." I kid you not, I'm not making this up. It is literally how this idea came to life.
Today on the show, we have Pranay Parekh, the co-founder of EUME, India's most disruptive travel gear brand. Launched in 2018 as a mother-son venture, EUME has raised 25 crores recently and hit a 120 plus crore valuation. In this episode, we get into the wild story behind making a trolley bag run a 21-kilometer marathon, the biggest mistake and myths about building a consumer brand in India, and what really changed for EUME after Shark Tank India. Let's get into it. Welcome Pranay on Level Up Season 3. Excited to have you here. I think it's very good, the kind of product and the kind of brand that you're building. I didn't know you were 26-year-old when we first spoke, but now that I know, I think I'm really more excited and more intrigued to know about your journey and the purpose and the mission behind building this brand, EUME. Let's get started. I want to know first up from you is that, everyone's been talking about software, AI, people have been building into that and stuff like that, right? But you've gone ahead and built something which is a traditional product and we've been using it for decades. That is luggage bag, a travel bag, right? So why did you take bet on this old school category?
Sure. So firstly, I think, it's very important to point it out there that I've come from a background, a family background where we were always into manufacturing of such products. So my grandfather, my father, we've been into manufacturing of backpacks, umbrellas, soft luggage for decades, right? So growing up as a child, it might feel very boring to the outside world, but it was a part of my DNA to sort of just think about these products, probably even in my sleep. A lot of what I did was because of selling such products or making such products. But I mean, that being said, jokes apart, 5-6 years back, just after I finished college, or rather towards the end of my engineering, I was really thinking of what I wanted to do. And back then, my mother and I always had this dream of wanting to start a D2C brand, primarily because, as of family, we were always into OEMs, we were into B2B, we were at the helm of someone else's satisfaction or desire, right? We had to make a bag in a price point of 500 rupees because they couldn't sell more than 1,000, or that's what they thought. But for us, it was more about, yeah, there is a possibility that people will buy good quality. It's just that maybe no one has been able to give it to them. We're not talking about like a 30, 40, 50,000 rupee bag, which people cannot afford and it'll only look like an aspiration. I'm not saying that they can't, but it's something that people don't prefer. But it's more about creating that product, where people would be like, yeah, this is something that's good. And we also saw trends, that people were traveling more and more. I think families were becoming smaller, nuclearization of families was happening. So tier 2, tier 3 cities where people were coming into the metros, into tier 1s. And we were like, this is a great opportunity to target people who are traveling. Day trips have started. We would never hear back back in the day when my father was there, he would never really go to Bangalore for a day of a few hours just to conduct a meeting, right? But now people go in the morning, come back in the evening. People have different tastes. People don't want to use the same bag on their holiday like they are using in their daily commute or to work. And seeing all these things, we were like, this is it. I knew it's the right time to start our own brand. And that's when we took the plunge.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Tell me something that I mean, as you mentioned, right, that you saw these customer insights that, okay, people are traveling more often, people are having day travels, families are becoming nuclear. Um, but there were certain other bag companies or, luggage companies in the market already, and some new age companies or startups were also being born at the same time when probably you were envisioning this particular brand or product, right? Was it more about sustainability, about design, about the price points? What was the important factor that you considered that needs to be changed in the current market that is not there with Yumi?
Sure. So, see, to be very honest, when we started EUME, we said if we're coming into the market, we have to come with a market with a product that has a USP that no one has, right? And we actually launched with a backpack that is patented in India, in the US, and we have a PCT filed worldwide. We launched the world's first backpack that gives you a massage on the go. I don't know if you know about that, but the reason for launching that was because we wanted people to sort of really, think that, wow, what is this product? It should create curiosity. And we thought that's the only way we'll be able to find space in this, otherwise very price sensitive, overcrowded or massy market, right? That's what, like you mentioned, we had the same inhibitions. And India has these 3 to 4 incumbents that have been ruling this category for decades now, right? And we were like, yeah, if we have to make our own space, we need to do something groundbreaking. And that's when we thought of the massager bag being a game changing product. Back in 2018, 2019, Hardik Pandya was our brand ambassador because he was also the game changer in the Indian cricket scene at that time. So we thought it would really go hand in hand together. And just as it was picking up, sadly COVID happened. And after COVID, the dynamic of travel changed altogether. It was on two extremes over the last 5 years. So 2020 to 2022, it was as slow as it could be, as essential as it could be, right? Unless it was a need, it was more work from home. But in the last 2 years, people have gone all out. I think they're trying to make up for as if COVID was 20
Revenge
years
travel,
long.
yeah.
Like revenge travel, perfect term. And they've tried to sort of go. They've just tried to find an excuse to travel, and I think that's where our category has boomed in the last 3 years. So I think we saw the dip and the rise of this category, and having been there just at the start, I think we had an advantage of understanding. And there was also a disadvantage that we had created something that was pre-pandemic, and then it took us a couple of years to realize abhi ye nahi chalega. And then how can we pivot to ensure we create something was the kind of challenge we had. So being manufacturers, that helped us.
Hmm. Got it. When was the massager bag launched?
So we launched it in the end of 2018. So I was doing
Oh,
my
it was in
engine.
2018.
Yeah, so I was actually doing my
Wow.
engineering back then. So we launched it on Kickstarter uh, as a crowdfunding thing just to see whether people are even interested in a product like this or not. And we hit more than 200% of our goal. So we were like, we definitely have something here. And then 2019 is really when we started sort of launching it on platforms in India. And March of 2020, uh, 13th March, I remember the date, like maybe 10 days before everything happened in the world about COVID, we had a airing on Good Morning America, which is like the US's number 1 show for e-commerce, but on television, right? Like, and we sold like 75 lakh worth of product in 4 hours. And we feel like, we
And
had
that is in US.
in the US. So it was about $100,000 back then. And we had 3 shows for all the subsequent months, which all got cancelled because of COVID and because of all the travel bans. But I think we realized we were onto something and we had to stick to it and really just see the
See that
wave of
patch. Yeah.
COVID go through so that we
Hmm.
could come back up and then just take it up from there as if
Hmm.
nothing happened.
In fact, me and the team out here, we were discussing about these two very good products or innovative products in your, SKU. One is this massager bag, and the other one is the aluminium bag. And I think the aluminium bag also looked very sleek, right? We were talking about that, very sleek, very lean, design very good, at least on the website. I don't know in reality how it would be, but it was looking beautiful, right? Very, very different from what we've seen on different other websites or other brands, right? Same with the massager bag. So I think kudos to that. I think the design and everything is really good,
Thank
really
you.
interesting. Um, you've raised, in fact, you recently closed your 25 crore Series A. So congratulations on that first. Uh, what has been your toughest moments in this 0 to 1? And I'm assuming this is one, and there is more to go.
Correct, correct. We are in a sort of a curve right now where we have to now take off. So we're somewhere in that U journey. What has been tough? I don't think it's been. I don't think I would not call it tough. I would basically call it a challenge to ourselves as well as to our investors in terms of how can we convince them that we are the brand, right? And it's got a lot to do with the fact that uh, coming from this industry, we understand quality. I think Indians, even me for matter, I'm an Indian, and we love to really how much ever we'll be like two compartment, three compartment. When we are packing not everyone is as organized as they should be. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
utility is a must, durability is a
Ask me
must,
about it. Yeah.
right? And in India, we have the monsoons. It's no one's friend when it comes to being nice to your products. People don't like to shop
I
as
think the
much
weather also, our weather creates,
moisture,
yeah,
like all of those
yeah.
sort of things. So we decided a couple of things, like even when we were going to investors, we told them that we will never back down on few things, which is our backpacks will never be made with polyester, or we'll try to use it as less as possible because nylon is more premium. It gives that structured vibe. It also has the ability to sort of expand a little bit, semi-structured sort of a thing, such that we can fill more things, right? Like,
Mm.
because at the end
It
of the
becomes
day,
little expandable inside when you're trying
exactly.
to put in
And
stuff.
with time also, right?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
it the material sort of expands.
And
And
Indians like to push stuffs. Yeah.
exactly. And we thought, yeah, we have to give the perfect bag to the Indian, right? To the customer, such that if they want to travel with it also, like, there are travel bags, there are work bags, but there are many people who like to use multi-usage sort of a vibe, right? And that's when we decided, let's go ahead with pure premiumness. We having made massy products before, we realized what set the benchmark in terms of premium versus mass, and we tried to sort of be like, let's stick true to this, and I'm sure it will give us a good return in the long run. We focused a lot on our design, so we built our team across the factor keeping, and my mother's obviously uh, done her background is in design, fashion. So she tried to inculcate her learning from the western world, whatever brand she aspired to sort of own at some point, and we tried to inculcate that in our brand language very subtly, whether it be our emblem or the way we present our logo, etc. And yeah, I think it's reaped rewards. And I think the investor got a confidence that yeah, in look jo kar rahe, it's something different, hit hai or miss hai. And there will be no in between. And I think over the past couple of years, we've tried to show, uh, sort of metrics that talk about the former rather than the latter. And we hope over the next 2, 3 years also, we'll continue the metrics in those directions.
Mm. Interesting. Very good. Very good. If a young entrepreneur wanted to or wants to start a travel accessories brand right now, what's the one thing you would warn him about?
Uh, don't enter the massy or the mass premium sector. It's not brand loyal, it's price loyal. You switch your price,
Price,
it's not brand loyal,
price
it's
loyal.
price loyal.
Okay.
Uh, Try to create something that people, sort of aspire to buy, primarily because, once they have their eye on that product, they'll want to in one way or another have it in their life, as compared to maybe just having a black bag with three compartments where the brand is not really something that people sort of are looking at, but it's the product that they're looking at, right? And I think product is very important, but it's also very important to create that brand, because nowadays people have become conscious. Your before backpack was not a part of your outfit. Today your backpack or your luggage or whatever you use is a part of you, it's a part of your outfit. So you want it to look in sync with you as a person, right? So don't think that I'll buy a 800 or 1,000 rupee. I'll start selling a 800 or 1,000 rupee bag. I'll sell 1,000 units. I'll get 10 lakh rupees of revenue. I think it's doable on day one. It's not sustainable in the long run, with especially how expensive performance marketing has become. I think a lot of the incumbents, they're doing it today successfully because they have that distribution. And anyone who's new to this will not have that distribution on which these guys have such low advertising costs, right? Flip the side, it'll be easier for them to maybe sell 200 bags of 5,000 rupees and find those 200 people in that niche, who really believe in your brand, and they will really feel like this brand is for me.
And they need it. They want it.
So find that target audience that you are sort of looking to aim for. And only when you find that target audience, go for it. Take that deep dive, because this category is not easy. I think I only thought of it because I was hearing it as a child. And I don't know if I would have been in this category had I not been from this industry. Because I'm so young, it's very tough to answer that if I don't have regrets at this stage in my life. But yeah, definitely this is something I would really sort of
No, makes
advise.
sense. Makes sense. Yumi's design philosophy really stands out, right? Would you say it is more aligning towards Apple, which is minimalistic, universal, timeless, or would you say it is more aligning towards Android with more customization, trendiness, etc.?
I mean, if I had to choose between Apple and Android, I'd choose Apple. The only reason for choosing Apple is because striking. You see it, you realize it has value. It does not need to shout out loud that, I have this feature, that feature. It's more about it has a sense of persona. Uh, I think, and I think, yeah, it's just about simple, minimalistic, elegant. Maybe has,
High
like the
performance.
high performance. Yeah, I think Androids are also high performing. I think they're better
Nowadays,
performing,
a few.
or maybe it depends. I've never really used an Android, so I wouldn't know.
A few of them are, but
Yeah,
not all.
right. But there are a lot of brands coming up with Android. I think Android versus Apple would be the wrong comparison in terms of the CPU or the
Yeah, yeah.
iOS system. I'm talking more about the looks.
The looks.
And from a looks perspective, I think our design
Design
resonates
philosophy.
more with
Apple.
Apple. I wouldn't talk about performance. Yeah.
Got it. Do you ever see Yumi bag as a status symbol when you see a customer wearing or when you all are selling it? And is that the positioning also that you all do?
Yes, so that's where our positioning or our sort of character persona has shifted over the last 12 to 15 months. We did not think of this 2 years back because, we were just coming out of COVID. Metrics were very unclear. But in the last 15 months, we've sort of realized that, for us, it's very important that people think of Yumi as a symbol. You spoke about the aluminium. We're speaking about backpacks that are costing 5-6 thousand. One of the reasons why we got the aluminium was because it's a head turner, right? People want to know where did they get it from.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
while as a concept it exists in the Western world, no one was really doing it in India at an affordable price point. You're talking about bags potentially in the Western world costing 6 figures plus, right? How do you get that to India at the right price with great quality and your own design language, and then tell people a story that they really feel like this is the bag I want to buy, right? And it has become a status symbol. It's one of our best selling products.
Is it?
We've got 6 to 7 colors now. We started with only one color. We've got customization. You can customize your bag, your wheels, your handle colors. So, you could look 7 different types of people every time you traveled, or like, because we have orange, blue, green, yellow, red. If I'm missing any color, but we basically have 7-8 colors covered, sorry. And we try to make a person feel larger than life, right? Where like every time I travel, I feel like I have something new. And we have stickers. We give free stickers with every bag, with all the 20 to 20, 26, 27 states. Like, one very important part of every state. So it's like, if you've traveled to Agra, why don't you put the Taj Mahal sticker on your bag? So your bag is like your sort of passport, right? It's telling the world where all you've traveled, and it's creating that
So
identity.
you give a sticker of a state.
No, so I mean, we give a lot of stickers
Okay.
with the bag complimentary. Some of them are like things from the states, right?
Got
Like
it.
an Agra,
Yeah, got it.
or
got
like
it.
Taj Mahal,
Taj Mahal
or like
from
Gateway
Agra.
of India,
Got it.
Lal Kila. So it's basically just like a sticker that helps people around you understand like this guy is a traveler.
Yeah.
And we basically have just tried to weave a story like every time you travel. Why don't you put one more sticker to your bag? It doesn't need to be something that we give you. You can even just buy a souvenir from that place and put it on your
Put it
bag.
on the bag. Yeah,
We've
it's
tried to
like
sort
an
of
emotional, it's like a memory building kind of a thing, and
exactly.
giving that experience to the customer that, okay, this is helping me, understand that, okay, when I'm traveling a lot, and helping others understand that, acha, ye kahan se aaya? It's
And at
like,
the end
it's,
of the day, it's more like, my bag is my journey.
ha,
My bag's got my back. So, EUME, the name also came about like, it's all about you and me. You've
hmm.
got my back, right? So,
Okay.
without you, like,
There
without the
is,
bag, I wouldn't be able to have that comfortable journey. So,
without you, there's
EUME is
no
the
me.
synergy between two parties, right? Like the
Hmm.
person and the product, the brand and the person. So
Hmm.
that's what we sort of wanted to
And
sort of
between you and your mom.
and between me and my
That's
mother.
the first thing.
That was the first thing, of course. But I mean, I'm just talking about the
Yeah, yeah,
product
yeah,
right now.
100%.
But
Yes.
yes.
All right. Interesting. Very good. So Yumi achieved a run rate of 4 CR per month, right? Recently. What has led to that revenue growth? What are the growth levers leading to this?
Yeah, so I mean, we don't really talk about financials as such out there. It's obviously there for people to see. But I think what has really worked for us over the last 5 to 7 months is that we've stuck to who we are, right? In the sense that we've seen a lot of our competitors or the new age brands give very aggressive discounting. Uh, and we feel that that's not the right way for us to, if someone has bought my product yesterday for 100 rupees, it can't be available for
Today at
80
80
rupees
rupees.
today, right?
Yeah.
Because it's about brand loyalty. We've been able to place our products at 3 airports. It's
Wow.
it's done
Nice.
decently. We've sort of partnered with a few companies to become their official gifting kit for either their employees or people in
Corporate
Diwali.
gifting types.
That's all very small part of it, but that we've just tried to position ourselves in a way that people think of us as premium, and how can we reach out to our target audience. And then obviously D2C, Amazon, other marketplaces for us are picking up very aggressively. So all of this is and it was a slow game in the beginning. We weren't seeing like a 10,000 rupee luggage sell 10 units, 15 units day on day, 8 months, 10 months ago. But because we persisted, now we're seeing 30, 35, 40, 45 units sell on a daily basis of our bestseller. So all these things are really helping things shape up the brand journey also from a revenue perspective, but
Got it.
more importantly from a brand
From a
perspective.
brand perspective.
Yeah.
All right. Got it. Got it. After your Shark Tank episode aired in December 22, if I'm not wrong, what was the key change that you saw in the company and the brand?
I think from Shark
Or
Tank,
towards you guys?
we saw a couple of learnings. I think back then we had a lot of products which were across the price range. And as a brand, we decided to sort of realize that, okay, this is when we stopped doing this. Because also, that's when we like, it was just after COVID, right? Season one. And there, like I told you, right, the metrics of the travelers weren't clear. So we also were trying to sort of, you know, uh, make our bets in a way, like hedge our bets. We were like, ye bhi rakhte hai, but let's not forget this, because if this doesn't work, this
तो
has to
ये
work.
चलेगा हाँ.
But we realized after the Shark Tank episode, people came on our website and they started buying our premium stuff because they liked our quality, our massager backpack. And we realized, yeah, guys, in India, I think there are more than enough people who we can really want to sell this story of quality, durability, style, design, and you have to stand out. Right? There are people. We just need to find those people through our
And people are
performance.
willing to pay if
See,
you reach to them.
people are willing to pay as long as you give them value
Yeah,
for
yeah,
money.
of course.
Like in India, there are a lot of people who are labeling a price X, right? Thinking, yaar, itna to mil hi jayega. But what you're not understanding is the way you package the product, not just the product, right? But your brand language, how much effort you've taken in the website. I still, every day we spend like an hour on the website. How can it look better than yesterday? Because if you're trying to sell a premium product, the entire narrative, not just the product, needs to be that good, right? You hear all these stories where, European brands are selling their product at a 50x, 70x of the COGS, right? Right. But the whole point is that they're only doing that because the way they've positioned the brand, the way, when you walk into their store, the feeling you get of walking in it's something that you cannot create, right? How do you differentiate yourself from a product which is only selling at a 20% markup versus a 80% markup? It's the it's the
It's the
persona,
experience.
it's the experience, right? And I think,
Hmm.
if you give the right experience at maybe 10% more, people will be able to, because at the end of the day, when that person is walking amongst his group of friends or colleagues, it's that brand logo only that will set him apart.
Hmm.
And we try to sort of, we try to sort of buy into that philosophy and then integrate that into our product range.
Hmm. Yeah, I think interesting. Would like to understand about this industry also, right? The luggage industry. So the Indian luggage market is estimated at around $15 billion, growing at 5% per annum, right? But in 2022, it saw a huge spike, probably 50-60%, right? Where do you see this industry growing in the next 5 years?
See, this industry has massive room for growth. The reasons for that, like I mentioned, also over nuclearization of families. I think
Hmm.
brothers are sort of wanting to work in different fields in different cities. People want to come from tier two, tier three, tier four cities and come into the metros. People are now traveling daily. Even people who are working from home in tier two and tier three cities, they now have to sort of go to metros to complete their work and then fly back. So there are day trips, right? I think if I'm not mistaken, there were more than 220 million trips, air trips that were taken last year. That equates to about 22 crore trips, which was
Hmm.
highest ever in India's sort of history, right? I think you see the kind of number of flights that Indigo, Air India are
Yeah, yeah.
flying Mumbai, Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore. I think there's more than 20 round trips happening a day. Even if you take about an average seater of 180, that's more than 5,000 people
Hmm.
flying just between two cities every day, right? And we're seeing that these numbers are very crucial, and we're seeing that people are ordering more planes. International travel is becoming so easy now.
So
Like,
easy,
it's
yeah.
actually sometimes cheaper to go to a Dubai or a Singapore than it is to go to Bangalore from
Correct,
Bombay on certain days.
correct,
So
correct.
all of this is really enhancing the travel sort of sector.
Hmm.
And obviously the ripple effect is on my category, right? Because people are now traveling together. The wife and the husband in the same family, maybe 10 years ago they would use the same luggage,
Hmm.
but now the wife wants a different color, the husband wants a different color,
And the
and
kid needs
and
another
the
bag
kid needs a
in
kid's
there.
luggage,
Yeah.
right? Which has like a compartment for a diaper
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
something or the
They
other.
have
So
their different design and look and feel
so
altogether.
keeping all these things in mind, I think the growth of the category is not maybe like you said, single digit 5-7%, but the premium category is actually growing at double
Faster.
percent,
Ah.
right? So you'll see that there has been a massive shift from soft luggage to hard luggage.
Hmm.
Right, people nowadays, because now in hard luggage, there's anti-theft zippers, which every product of ours comes with. There's more security. It looks better. People now want to invest on looks of their
Yeah,
product,
yeah, absolutely.
right? People don't want to keep a piece of luggage for 10-12 years like they did before, right? My
Yeah.
grandfather has his luggage from the early 2000s even today. But for me as a new generation, it's more about, I want something new. I want a new toy every 18
Hmm.
months. So
Correct.
disposable income is growing.
Disposable income is
And
growing.
also per capita, like nowadays, of the newer generation, women have now started working as, like in India. I mean, I don't mean to say that in a negative way, of course, but now the percentage of women increase per working has
Correct.
increased as a percentage as
So your
compared to 10.
family household disposable income
Income has
increases.
increased,
Yeah.
right? And now there are working couples as opposed to just one
Men
person
working, yeah.
working,
So even
right?
women are traveling, they're also taking. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So all of these things are leading to better travel, opportunities. People are spending more on themselves also.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think yeah, that's true. So we were just scraping through some data and we figured out that there are just 7.2% of Indians who have a passport and 2% of Indians that have traveled abroad, right? How does this shape your product and the market strategy, especially as travel is evolving as a luxurious kind of a thing, like an experience, right? So how do you go about it?
So 7% of Indians having a passport is more than I think 10 to 12 crore
Hmm.
people,
Hmm.
and 2% of Indians having traveled abroad is more than I think 3.5 crore people.
Hmm.
I think to begin with, that's a massive
Number.
number to even comprehend. I would be happy if in the next 2 years I even address 1% of people who've traveled abroad,
Hmm.
right? So for me, that would probably be 0.02% of
Of the yeah
0.002% of Indians, right?
yeah.
And I think that would be a great starting point for a
Hmm.
brand like me, because I would have still done pretty well for myself.
Yeah.
But that being said, travel is not just abroad, right? I think nowadays in India also
Domestic travel.
the kind of luxury travel or premium or high end travel that has happened is like crazy. Like even in India, even if I talk about Maharashtra, right? The kind of resorts that are coming up in Lonavala, Mahabaleshwar. So yeah, I mean, travel is not just about within like internationally, right? Even within India, if you talk about it, there is very high end luxury premium travel and even local travel, right? Like for example, in India, people are traveling to Alibag, right? We've got the ferry now, which makes going to Alibag so much easier. We have brands that are renting out bungalows for the weekend. We have amazing resorts coming up in Lonavala, Mahabaleshwar. I'm talking about region, right? Then outside the region, traveling to Rajasthan, Kerala, backwaters. I think India is beautiful. And now there are these lot of boutique hotels that have started coming up in nook and corners of the country. So I think we're not just betting on international travel, but also people who want to see our country and they want to see it in some sort of, India hotels are actually considered in the top 5 hotels when it comes to average pricing per night,
Hmm.
right? So it's not just the story of traveling globally, it's also travel
Domestic
within
traveling.
India.
Yeah.
And when I mentioned 22 crore trips happened last year, it wasn't just international, right? It was a lot that happened domestically as well.
Hmm. Got it. Your, the incumbent players that are there in this industry, right? Maybe your VIP, Samsonite, Safari, they control a large percent of market share, maybe 75-80% or northwards of that, right? How do you try to take these players head on?
See, we don't want to take them head on, to be very honest, because the sort of clientele that we are trying to attract to, they might not be attracted to that kind of product, right? I think now a lot of these brands have started their own subsequent brands, which are trying to
New
target
age.
to the new age brands that are trying to target to the same audience that we are, right? And that's
Hmm.
why the playing field is quite level. Of course, they have distribution. So if a brand one of the brands you name they want, they can have a premium brand and it can be selling at 1,000 touch points tomorrow,
Hmm.
right? I will not have that power. But that if you keep that aside, which obviously like on a normal day you cannot keep it aside, but the target audience remains the same. But our incumbent brands, generations don't want to use something that maybe their father or their grandfather was using.
Correct.
And it's about that new age mentality, right? I want colors. Like I mentioned the other time, one of the metrics that we saw change drastically post COVID was that, pre COVID, we made a lot of bags that were based on black, gray, and blue.
Okay.
Right. And we realized post COVID and post 2022 in specific that people want
Different
a
color.
emerald green, people want a light blue, people want red, people want pink.
Complete surprise
We
how people
surveyed,
started come to
we
know also about all these
we
colors.
surveyed and 30% of people wanted primary colors, and that was never in our plan, right? So
Hmm.
and I think a lot of these incumbent brands, the way they are sort of selling their product, I think it's good for like what the colors we are talking about, right? Or the target market that we're talking about, and their distribution channel is so vast, offline, that the price points is very sensitive. So I think it's a mix of these two things, and they've also sort of somewhere realized that I can't put my logo on an 800 rupee and an 8,000 rupee product. And they've sort of got these new D2C brands, which are also doing pretty well. And yeah, I think the fight is not there yet because this category is growing like crazy. It's more about firstly owning your share. And once you do, I think maybe a year or year and a half from today is when the fight might begin.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay. So your family comes from a manufacturing background, right? How much of Yumi's operations are in-house manufacturing versus sourcing it from some other manufacturers, etc. And how does this impact your brand's quality and the product quality in itself?
Right. Um, See, so until about 12 months ago, until we launched Luggage, we were a 100% Make in India brand. In fact, every product we sold was basically made in our own factory or in factories that we have been working with for many, many years. After we decided to launch Luggage, our aim was still one of the reasons we launched Luggage so late was because we were trying to find the perfect vendor in India for us to sort of, make these hard luggage bags or these aluminum bags that we were talking about. Unfortunately, we weren't able to find the vendor at the price we were sort of looking for or seeking, right? And that's when we decided we have to maybe to begin with go outside while we build our brand, because mold costs were very expensive, right? You're talking about mold costs in India being 20-25 lakh rupees a design versus maybe 5 to 6 thousand dollars outside, right? And we were like, let's start, let's get good quality, let people accept us for the brand that we are, and then we can do the backward math. And we've already sort of started doing that. So currently as a brand, we were 100% make in India. We are currently about 65-70% still make in India. So our backpacks, our accessories, our laptop messenger bags, everything is made in India, right? From raw material to everything. There are some products that we have to bring from outside. And our hope is in the next 12 to 15 months, we will find the supply chain for that in India as well. But yes, at the same time, the reason why we started EUME was to give the customer something that they wanted but maybe was not existent. And I think the answer somewhere lies in that Venn diagram ka overlap, right? What you want versus what you get is maybe not available in India.
Correct.
And that's where we
And that's the
felt,
gap that you guys are
yes, so that's
wanting
where
to
we
fill.
felt like, we have to take the step of, it was not something that was comfortable for us or we were something very open to, but we were like, if we want to tap into this, we have to take this step today, and we can address this once the brand is built or while we are building the brand.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So you have Mr. Ashish Kacholia as one of the investor, right? And he's like the Mr. IPO himself. What is it like having him on board?
See,
Maybe your first investor or second, something like that.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not
So
sure.
he invested in our second round.
Second round, yeah.
Uh, the first round was primarily a few angels.
Hmm.
That being said, he's a veteran, not just in investing, but also in our category, right? He's a one of the leading investors in percentage terms in a lot of the incumbent brands, couple of them that you mentioned right now, and he understands the space pretty well. And I think what he saw in us was youthfulness. What he saw in us was the fact that we wanted to do something that was not done in India before. And having already tasted success in our category of luggage, backpacks, etc., he felt like this was a reliable or a safe bet, maybe. I don't know. I can't really dig into his brain into what made him want to invest in us from that perspective, but definitely the sort of designs that we showed him, I think we went to every meeting with our products, right? We didn't just want our numbers to speak, because truth
Yeah,
be
yeah,
told,
product needs to be displayed. Correct.
our numbers weren't that good when we first met him, right? Like, I wasn't showing him maybe a year and a half back that I'm selling 10,000 rupee luggage, but I knew the product I had created was wow. So I went to the meeting. My mother and I, we went to the meeting with our product, and we wanted him to feel that wow, this is something that has not been done yet, right? And we wanted him to take a bet on us as founders and take a bet on the product that we're trying to build, and hope somewhere in his journey, not just in luggage, but in his investment journey, that people do become premium, decisions do become premium, and products can also become premium and yet have a space. And I think he's sort of bought into our philosophy of that. And now we started seeing that, I think we had, in our first month we sold luggage, we sold maybe 100 units, right? Last month we exited 4 digits plus, right? So I'm talking about just pure luggage, and I think he's been at the forefront of this revolution. He's backed us. He said, I believe in you guys, I believe in the product. And that's somewhere shown in the way we've tried to scale also. And now we're coming in retail, actually. We're opening stores, right? And when we showed him the design, versus not just him the design, when we conceptualized the design, we said it will not look average. It should be an experience that I was talking about. We are spending 2x of what the store on my left and the right is spending on per square feet, in terms of the the
The look
make,
and
the
feel
look
and
and feel.
yeah,
But we are like,
the ambience.
when some yeah, the ambience, right? But when someone enters our store, they should be wow, right? I want, even if they don't purchase in the moment, right? We want that lasting impression of the store to be in their mind, such that the next time they want to purchase a luggage, they think of that store experience they had. So where, and we've shared these insights with them, that it will not be a like आज कर लिया और कल impact होगा, but definitely next हफ्ते ये impact आएगा. And that's the philosophy. Day one, honesty. and I think we've been rewarded for that.
What was that one tip that he has given you which has served you like?
There can't be a single tip. I think there's been a lot of learnings from the category that him and his team have given us. So I can't single out. He just said that be true to who you are. Don't sacrifice the brand for chase of top line. You know, uh, be pure what you're trying to create, and people will come and buy it.
Yeah, they'll
Don't
acknowledge that.
compromise the brand logo. I think a lot of these things, every step you take from
Very
here.
important,
Yeah,
yeah. Because I think sometimes in the race for chasing valuations, for chasing a top line, for chasing, a competitor, I think it can happen that your brand ethos or your brand, equity starts getting diluted. You start compromising on that. कि अच्छा अभी mass product निकालते हैं. Let's remove a cheaper product, maybe to increase the volumes, to increase the scale. But it's very important. I think that advice in itself might be just one sentence, but in itself it's a multiplier effect. And
absolutely. I think that also comes to us from the fact that we are from a family background, right? Where we feel like top line इतना important नहीं है जितना bottom line
bottom
है,
line
right?
important,
And by bottom line, it's not even about growing it 2x every year. It's about worst case maintaining it, right? As a percentage. And I think that comes, and I think when we told him this, of course, see, revenue is a short metric of success, right? People have accepted you. So we are obviously trying to grow the revenue because that means that we are getting into more houses. People are accepting us as a brand. But at the same time, we do not want to do it by compromising the product. So we're
product and the
keeping,
quality, yeah.
and we don't want to be like an incumbent brand, have 200 designs, spread and pray and hope that one of the design works. So we are trying to do a lot of R&D in this design. This design will do well. I have 10 designs maximum, and now I'm going to try and scale these 10 designs.
Got it. Interesting. uh One of my last few questions before I move to the random rapid fire round. uh how is it working with your mother as a co-founder? I mean, I've not heard of many founders doing this. And why did y'all both choose each other as co-founders?
See, I think it was fairly easy as a decision. I'll tell you. Yeah, I'll tell you. So I don't have a sibling. I never had a sibling growing up, and my parents, both my father and my mother, were relatively young when they had me, right? And so I think we were always relatable to each other. I turned 25 before my father turned 50, right? So there might be that father son or a mother son sort of a that denotion naming, but they could always relate to my issues or my problems, or if I like growing up, teenage issues or whatever, right? And by issues I mean like friends or going out or this or that, and they, because they understood it, they never revolted, right? And I think growing up they became my best friends. I was able to share anything I had. And I think when my mother and obviously I were talking about what I want to do next, I think it was but obvious that I was going to work with the family. But it was more about in what capacity, right? And that's because I was too young to sort of just get into an OEM B2B business, because that can be done in the longer run also. But it's about creating something right now because we were seeing the digital evolution of India, right? And we were like, yaar, abhi karna hai to karna hai. And we were like, mom and I decided, let's do this. Obviously, like it was a family decision. Let's start EUME as a brand. We patented, we spent a lot of money in our first 2 years as a family to get the patents, the first prototype, sending it to the US, doing the Kickstarter. It was all a massive investment for us as a family, but we were taking a bet on the fact that if India becomes digital and the way we see this category growing, it will do well for us. And like, touch wood, over the last 5-7 years, we've been able to build the right prototype, get the right product out there, and now we have good names backing us. So I think we've done decently. Now the journey begins, right? I think every time we raise a round or we get someone on board as an investor, it's back to square one, right? Because now raising money is often celebrated in India, but it's actually one of the largest liabilities on our shoulders, right?
Correct.
Because if I am unable to
Is
give the
a
person who's backing me that
any
sort of
return or the
return,
money back, yeah.
for me it's like a loss.
Yeah.
So I don't really celebrate raising rounds. It's more about how can we if I've raised X amount of money, how can I get 2x value from this or 3x? Because I would have done that if it was my capital on the line.
Hmm.
And I need to know that this is my
This is
capital,
your
not
capital. Yeah.
someone else's,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
this is our company together, right? It's like for me, I always think that if I had a brother or if my father had a brother, right, I would still not own 100%. So why not use this capital to sort of grow it like a family business, like I would if I had someone who I had to share a lot of things with, but at the same time get that result for everyone involved. So I think this is a lot of the nurturing that my parents have only done in my mind, which is why I think for me it's very easy to sort of work with them also. I'm only talking about the good stuff. There's obviously, sometimes there's also a lot of blurred lines, right? I think once I got married, how much conversation do you bring back home? Dining table, breakfast, in office, at lunch also we're talking work. So, there was a time when all the three meals, which I as a person really savor, right? Like I'm like, eating is the one time I'm not thinking or trying not to think about work. It became a topic of conversation. Like abhi yaar ye aaj ho gaya, aaj sale drop ho gaya. Initially, I think, but now everyone has realized that for the growth of the brand, we need to talk less about it, because only when you have that open mindedness, the person is actually thinking subconsciously. But if you're consciously trying to think about something, you can't fix something in the back. So, we realized we tried to go for the small wins after that. And now we've sort of stabilized. My wife has recently, she's joined us, she's heading retail. Right. So we've tried to divide our work also in a way where we are never stepping on each other's toes on the daily, right? Like ops, sales with me, brand, product with my mother, marketing. My wife's now looking after retail. So we take everyone's inputs, but then the person takes the
Yeah.
final
That
call.
person
And
needs
we
to take that.
respect that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Initially, that respect came with a lot of conversation. Today, that respect is
It
given.
comes automatically and it's
Yes.
given.
And that's
It
the
is
sort
earned.
of
Yeah.
transformation we've had
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
mother and a son, or as a
Hmm.
co-founder pair, like whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
No, no, interesting. I think that's one of the most interesting duos that I have seen. Not heard, as I said, I've not heard many founders, having co-founders as any of the parent,
Sure.
right? But no, very good. Let's come to the last round, which is the random rapid fire round, right? Let's do this. So, uh, Elon Musk sent a Tesla Roadster into space. Dickinson blended an iPhone, and you made the EUME trolley bag run a 21-kilometer marathon. How did this campaign come to life?
It was the most like crazy like brand meeting we were having. क्या कर सकते हैं, कुछ viral करना है. And our brand guy was there, and my wife basically at 5 p.m., this was at 5 p.m., 7 days before the marathon, she said, guys, like I have to leave, I have my training. Like she was running every evening for the marathon.
Okay.
So she's like, I have to go practice my run, my marathon's next week. And my brand guy literally said, यार बैग को भी तेरे साथ भगा देते हैं. I kid you not, I'm not making this up. It is literally how this idea came to life. कि बैग को भी तेरे साथ भगा देते हैं. And we all laughed and she left. Like she left because we were like, what is this? And you will not believe, we were like, dude, that's a great idea. Like after she left, but will she do it? Like, is it like, she just came number 3 in High Rocks in India. Okay. And like I told you, right, she's too much into fitness. And we were like, yeah, let's ask her if she'll do it. So we called her. She's like, are you all joking? And we were like, no. She's like, okay, I'm down. Even she said, I'm down in the spur of the moment. And we made her run the next day, 5
So
km.
in the photo that is there, that's her and the bag.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And she's completed a lot of triathlons. She's now running the full marathon later this year in Europe. She wants to complete the 7 full marathons that exist. She wants to do the Ironman. So we were like, yeah, try it now the next morning. So we basically tried it. And first go, we failed. Why did we fail? Because we gave her an empty bag. The empty bag was actually really tough to run with because it was flying. Like she was running and it was flying. And then we were like, yeah, we are trying to test the wheels and the durability of this bag. Very seldom will someone use a cabin bag empty.
Yeah.
So we said, let's fill 5 to 7 kilos of weight. So we filled it with 5 to 7 kilos of towels, clothes. She ran the next morning. She said, dude, this is so easy. The wheels are unbelievable. And Bombay is not the smoothest
Smoothest
roads
roads,
to
yeah.
sort of run on. So we were like, yeah, theek hai. So then we asked someone at the TMM, can we do this? Can we do this? We had to take some permission. They were like, theek hai, ho sakta hai. We were like, great. Come the Sunday morning, we were 8 of us from our team. We did not have enough time. Trust me when I say this, we did not have enough time to even get a camera like team on board because we didn't know where she would be, what route she would take, and I knew it best. I was there at 8 of the 14 viewing points, running on like a scooter, just being able to get there so we can capture footage
उसके
of her.
बाजू में पीछे भी हाँ.
Exactly. Like we had a 360 that वो gimbal types put on the luggage, and we made her wear something on her vest. We were like, यार जो कर सकते हैं कर लेते हैं. We'll make a campaign out of this. The best response we could have gotten was everyone around her started recording her, and it became that moment marketing. You know, वो बोलते हैं ना, like there was this campaign we saw which happened in the what's that race that happens in France,
Tour de France.
Tour de France, where there was a sports drinking brand that sort of wanted to do marketing, but they didn't have the budgets for it. So they made a mascot wear the bottle and just run with the cyclists. And we were like, yaar, this is great, ऐसा कुछ करते हैं. And it
ऐसा
worked
बन
out.
गया.
We got more than 1 million views. Organic.
Wow.
We didn't pay 1 rupee for this campaign.
Hmm.
In fact, the photos were taken by me and my brand team. Like that's how we did it. Like
जुगाड़ू
full जुगाड़ू campaign. We were like, चलेगा तो ठीक है,
नहीं
वीडियो
चला
अच्छा
तो क्या फर्क
वीडियो अच्छा बनेगा तो ही पोस्ट करेंगे, नहीं तो हम लोग के खुद के satisfaction के लिए व्हील टिक गए.
हाँ.
We were like that, and it did really well. Like it touched wood. Like all her friends, her colleagues bought. We made a code. We ran it on performance. It did well. We were like, great, good insights.
When it's sometimes the most unexpected things work out.
Yeah, the fact that you're asking me this right now because I didn't tell you about it, and if you've picked it up, I'm happy. Somewhere it has registered in people's brains.
Okay, so if you could bust one myth about building a consumer brand in India, what would it be?
पैसा है तो easy है. You gotta have the right PMF. You gotta have the right brand communication.
पैसा सब कुछ नहीं है मतलब.
It's not like if I had 50 crores in my bank account which I have raised, my
तो ये
brand is
मेरा brand
successful
successful
tomorrow.
है. हाँ.
The way you spend it, the way you, because if you start burning money is the easiest thing. It's about how you can find 2 rupees of value in every rupee you spend. I think a lot of the brands are doing it reverse. And that comes from my mindset of me either being a Marwadi or from a family background. We try to keep
हाँ वो तो
we
of course.
ज़्यादा हाथ जल्दी खुलता नहीं है.
हाँ.
We try to do that, but I think it's done well for us.
Nice. What's the worst advice you've received about running a D2C brand?
Worst advice I've received. यार,
यही कि burn करो.
बहुत hearsay है. Like there's a lot of
Ad
hearsay.
पे spend करो.
Initially बहुत burn करना पड़ेगा. बाद में profitability आएगा. But see, I think that stands true for a lot of categories. So it also depends category to category. Like FMCG में, for example, this bottle here, right? If I spend 2x the money for someone to buy this, but they love it, I know my confidence is in the drink, right? But I know he can come tomorrow and he'll buy 5 more for his friends. In my category, that cannot be it. So if I am not profitable, or if I'm not trying to achieve profitability in my first interaction with you, there is no guarantee you will come again tomorrow, even if you like it, because I've tried to make it
It's
so
a
well.
one-time product.
I've tried to make the product so well that I'm giving you 5-year warranty. So my hope is that you come because you like my other design also, but there is no guarantee you will come. So how can I burn on you? Right? So obviously it really depends on the category you are.
Category.
और ऐसे बहुत लोगों ने बहुत advice दी है when we were trying to grow. No, not bad necessarily,
yeah.
but you got to learn what to keep in your mind.
Correct.
And you got to learn what to not like get impacted by.
Which are your top 3 picks for e-commerce niches in India right now? As a sector,
I think
other than yours.
Yeah, I think kids is a massive category. A lot of it has a very overlapping audience with travel luggage, because people who are looking to spend on themselves are also the type of people who are spending a lot on the welfare of their kid.
Kids also, yeah.
Also, now that there is a mother and a wife, a mother and a father working, they're looking to spend on how we can keep the kids safe if both of them are at work, whether it be with a help or they want to send them to the best school, make them have the best protective. I saw an article that said that kids ka spying camera was one of the best selling products on e-commerce last year, right? So I think kids is a great space to be in. I think wellness, I think there are more and more people talking about mental health. I don't know for sure. I've never worked in these categories. So I can't say that hearsay versus reality. And I think another thing that is now doing well is very niche BPC, like beauty and personal care, right? People looking to work on specific skin tones or skin types. They are doing well reasonably.
Hmm.
I don't know the
Yeah,
long
these are
term.
small niches in a
Yeah,
larger
like
pocket. Yeah.
water-based formulations
Hmm.
or like vegan formulations. We don't want to put XYZ on our face or our body. I don't know. I mean, I'm also reading just like you are on LinkedIn. I don't have any industry internal insights, but they look exciting. And I've also seen that a lot of different marketing is happening around them, right? Where founders themselves are coming and applying it on their face or talking about how this helped or they face this issue with their kid, which is why they're launching this. So a lot of, I think UGC is not just about user generated content. Now it's also about how the founder has reached that sort of solution. And people want to believe that.
Yeah, people want to believe that. Only if you come out in the open, people will believe you and try to, trust you that, okay, he's making something interesting or good for my kid or whatever, right?
Like even for us, just to sort of just divert a bit, in our category also luggage, people talk about best wheels, best XYZ. We were like, yeah, how do we show this online? So we have actually now sort of started doing videos where I am a part of them and I'm taking hammers
Yeah, we
trying to
saw that.
break the
Yeah,
bag,
yeah, yeah.
because we are like, yeah,
We
let
were just
people,
seeing that the other day.
yeah, let people believe it, like let people know that my
टूटता
money
नहीं
is
है.
where my mouth is,
हाँ.
right? I'm not just saying it because आपको अच्छा लगेगा. मेरा एंटी थेफ्ट जिपर है, नाइफ लेके जिप तोड़ने की कोशिश करो. My bags actually have great wheels. My wife ran the marathon. We are trying to show the people that my bag is what it claims, and I feel this is working in any category.
Any category it would work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because nowadays people don't want
If
to be scammed.
you need to show the proof.
People don't want to be
Yeah,
scammed,
yeah.
like people don't want to think यार ये तो claim किया था क्यों नहीं हो रहा है. And that's why brands lose money, right? They claim things they're not in hope that a customer will come and buy it the second time and they'll become profitable because they won't have to spend advertising money on getting them the second time, retention marketing. But the customer is not coming the
It's not
second time.
he's gone.
He's
He's
gone
gone.
because
Once he's
you
fooled, he
didn't deliver
cannot
the
be fooled.
first
Yeah,
time.
if he's fooled, he's not going to come again.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the delivery could be logistics, it could be
Anything. Yeah.
anything.
Experience, logistics, even your, that क्या बोलते हो, package opening वाला experience also. If that is also not good, people are unhappy. Like people get unhappy like this. But it'll take a lot of efforts to make them happy.
Yeah, I know. We sometimes when we don't have our customers don't have the best experience. I would say it happens once in a while. We try to go out of our way to make it the right experience, right? Give them a freebie or replace their product or give them a voucher because we know at the end of the day we didn't intend for it. So if that is going to be the the lasting impact on their mind, it's okay if you don't come and buy again, but don't think of us like that. We did not want to cheat you. So I will do anything to at least remove that from your mind. Then if you come again or not is not in my control. But what is in my control is to tell you that we tried. Yeah.
I think no, wonderful. Uh, Thanks a lot, Pranay. I think wonderful conversation. Uh, you don't seem to be like a 26-year-old entrepreneur. There is a lot of depth in you. I believe there is a lot of understanding and maturity of this business specifically. Maybe from your genes and maybe from your family background or the Marwadi background. तो धंधा खून में है ऐसा क्लियर कट लग रहा है. And I think there's a lot of a long way for you and for this brand. Really enjoyed this conversation.
Likewise.
Got a lot of insights into this industry. As I told you that we've never covered this industry earlier in any of the episodes. So a lot of new learnings about this sector, and wonderful to know that you're working with your mother. that's one of the most interesting and exciting things, right? That any son can do.
I would encourage people to try it.
Yeah.
I think, in founders, sometimes when you work with your best friend or someone you know or from your job, there tends to be that, यार उसको fame मिल रहा है मुझे क्यों नहीं मिल रहा है?
हाँ.
And in our cases, that is never the denominator only. Like we don't have any rivalry
Internal rivalry
internally
है ही
नहीं,
नहीं. हाँ.
because we're like, यार अगर coverage, oh, my mom got covered,
हाँ.
or she'll think my son got
Yeah.
covered,
So
and
either
it's a
ways, it is a
win-win,
proud
right? And
moment.
for us, we are working for us.
Hmm.
I am not working thinking, yaar, why is she not working so much as me? And I've seen a lot of these breakup stories with
Founder breakup
founders.
stories.
One founder wants an exit, the other then starts suffering because he has to buy out, or he will end up working double harder.
Jealousy, greed,
Lot
all
of
that
things
stuff.
work
Yeah.
out, right? So we try. I think it really,
Understanding
I would
issues.
encourage this, and I think there is no one who wishes more well for you than your parents, right? So I think,
Or the son, or the
or
sibling,
vice versa,
or the
of course,
children for
right?
the son parents.
So I
Yeah.
think it's a great thing if you can achieve,
No,
if you can
wonderful.
do
I
it.
think
Yeah.
that is an icing on the cake for you
Yeah.
guys, and I think it's a good blend, a good combination,
Yeah.
which is working out very well for you guys. So kudos, congratulations on that. Wonderful. I think that's how we wrap it up.
Perfect. Thanks. Nice being on this show. I think you're doing
Wonderful.
cool stuff.